This is the 11th part video, titled, He Finds a Notebook of Experience and Can Experience Anything He Writes. Please do watch all the previous parts to enjoy this video. Jong-suk's family was attacked by some unknown masked men. They were looking for the Notebook of Experience. As soon as they got their hands on the book, they tried to get away in their van. Just at the moment, Jong-suk arrived and crashed into their van. The three masked men fell over a distance. Jong-suk saw the book in their hands. He realized they were after the book. Just when he tried to approach them, one man from the van came from behind and tried to attack on Jong-suk. He missed his chance. Jong-suk threw a powerful punch on his face, crashing him in the glass window. He turned around and dashed towards the man who was holding the book. The man didn't even got a chance to respond. Jong-suk's punch was already smashed on his cheeks. Suddenly, another man came out of the van. He was holding a vector gun. A sudden burst of bullets started raining on Jong-suk. Jong-suk was holding the bald man as his human shield. He charged at the shooter while holding him. He slammed both of them on each other, taking them inside the van. The sounds of punches and kicks ranged from the van. Suddenly, Jong-suk was thrown out of the car with the broken door. A man with extraordinary metal armor and reinforced bodysuit stepped out of the van. He was wearing an exoskeleton suit. He jumped on Jong-suk. As his punch landed, there was a hole in the ground. The power was devastating, but he had missed his target. Jong-suk knew he doesn't have to hold back anymore. He forced his power to awaken. His eyes were glowing. The old man was watching him over the screen. The air was trembling with Jong-suk's energy. The armored man attacked with his powerful drive, but Jong-suk stopped it with one hand. He had displaced the force. He gathered the energy into his hand again and forced it back with same power. The man was thrown into the ground at a long distance. Jong-suk lifted his two fingers. Suddenly, the nearby car was lifted up in the air. The old man and his assistant were watching it live, couldn't even believe it. Jong-suk looked at the armored man. He was trying to get up. Jong-suk waves his hand and sends the levitating car crashing into the armored man. It was simply unbelievable. The old man and his assistant knew instantly. Jong-suk was strong. The old man said he has seen enough. A couple of extraordinary machines were kept in front of Jong-suk. Jong-suk turned to face it. Just when the machines were activated, an energy burst came out of it. Jong-suk was trapped in it instantly. He couldn't even move. Suddenly, the power was increased. Jong-suk was electrified. He was on his knees, completely helpless. The rain was pouring heavily. The door opens. A woman gets out. Jong-suk was out of his energy. He could see his death. The woman was a graceful young beauty. She was holding a gun on Jong-suk's forehead. She shoots the gun without any hesitation. She reported, "The writer has been handled." She picks up the book and reports again, "The book of the experience is recovered." Jong-suk was covered in blood. He was dead. However, he was now in an unknown dark abyss. He was falling in that abyss. When he opened his eyes, he saw the big pattern. As he moved forward, he realized it was the same pattern which was on the Notebook of Experience. It was like a wall. It was blocking him from something. Jong-suk tried to punch it, but nothing happened. He used his energy and gave a powerful punch, but it was instantly reflected with the same force. Jong-suk landed at a far distance. His gum-gum punch didn't even make a dent, but he refused to give up. He was now going to use his all-power. He called on Gong-gong. Just when he used his Buddha's disciple punch to break the unbreakable, the punch was stopped by a single hand. It was a man with white Japanese attire. Jong-suk recognized him. It was the former owner who refused to use the power of the Notebook of Experience, Bachelor and Village Chief Yu-jit. Just when he recognized him, more human figures came in front of him. He could recognize all of them. Every one of them was the former writer of the Notebook of Experience. Suddenly, the mad doctor came forward. He said it was too early for him to come here. He retracted his middle finger and gave a powerful blow on Jong-suk's forehead. Suddenly, Jong-suk was again falling in the dark abyss. With a sudden jerk, he woke up. He saw a girl in front of him. She was wearing a school uniform. The girl said, "You finally woke up, Lee Jong-suk." She said his vitality was indeed amazing to have survived even after being shot in the head. Jong-suk didn't know the identity of this girl. He thought she was a student. He asked hurriedly where he was and what is her identity. The girl said they are in Seoul and she is Kaede Sakamoto. She is the only daughter of Japanese Minister of Science and Technology. Jong-suk didn't know how that explained anything. At the same time, the girl showed him a book and said, "Will this be enough for you to understand?" The book had a similar pattern. The pattern similar to his Notebook of Experience. Kaede added, "The painting which Jong-suk saw at the airport was donated by her father. The book he is looking at is her father's memento. Her father died from the hands of the people who were looking for the books of experience." On the other side, the gorgeous blonde woman was walking with a suitcase. Jong-suk asked what happened to his parents. The girl said they are both fine. She took her here before the police arrived. The blonde woman was now in front of the old man. Jong-suk asked why would she bring him here and what does she want. The girl replied, the people who attacked him today and the people who killed her father are with the same gang. The old man got the suitcase. He was looking at Jong-suk's notebook of experience. At that same time, Kaede added, the leader must have taken his book. So now, he will become her bait to take her revenge. Jong-suk didn't understand it. Jong-suk said, what was the point of revenge if they already have his book? The old man opened the book. The pages were empty. He realized something was wrong. Kaede simply said, because you didn't die. Jong-suk was stunned. She added, the book of experience cannot change its owner until the writer dies. At the same, the old man was growing furious. He couldn't control his rage. Kaede continued, now that they know he isn't dead, they will definitely try to hunt him down and kill him. And when they do, she will able to find their location and their boss. Then she will cut them down with her own hands. Few months ago, in Tokyo, Japan. At the Ministry of Science and Technology, in the parking area, a group of people arrive. One of the employee greets his parting minister. The minister greets them and thanks them for today's work. Moving along, the minister asked his secretary if they have looked into the case he talked about. His secretary said they will continue their conversation in their car. In the car, the secretary continued. She said they didn't get enough information since they are a secret organization. The minister knew that. She added, based on the clues he gave them, there was only one person who met all their conditions. She gave him the iPad. It had a picture of a doctor. He was now an old man. The minister knew who he was. He knew him as Gout. The secretary continued. He was the German scientist who fled to US during the World War II. He won the Nobel Prize for chemistry and medicine at a very young age. The minister already knew who he was. He asked if he is still alive. The secretary said it hasn't been revealed for more than 20 years now, but if he is still alive, he would be over 100 years old. The minister said, so Gout was the collector's identity. Suddenly, the driver stops the car. He could see a black van in front of them. The minister asked for the reason. The driver didn't reply. He saw the door of the van was opened. He could see a gun. He immediately asked them to fasten their seatbelts. Suddenly, a masked man with a gun comes out of the car. Immediately, the driver puts the car in reverse and slams his leg on the metal pedal. A sudden shower of bullets falls on the BMW car. Some bullets were bouncing off the car, and some were making cracks in the bulletproof windshield. The car was rushing back at full speed. Suddenly, another white van came rushing towards them from the back. The van crashed into the car from behind. The minister and his secretary felt the jerk. The secretary pulls the seatbelt and released it. She stood up on the seat and told her boss to wait. A group of masked men was already out of the van. Suddenly, from the sunroof, a gun poked out. A sudden burst of bullets roared in the parking lot. The masked men were in shock. In the back camera, the secretary could see their movements. She was not just shooting blindly. The driver was also making his own share of efforts. The masked men couldn't even move an inch. Their resistance was too strong. Suddenly, the graceful blonde woman arrived. She was holding a grenade launcher. She told them to step aside. The bald man was hesitant and asked if she was going to use it here. She said, the bulletproof car won't blow up in single grenade. She launched the first shot. Boom! With a flash of light, the grenade exploded on the car. Sparks of fire were rising rapidly. Suddenly, a small ball came out of the sunroof. It was smoke bomb. The entire area was filled with smoke in an instant. Until they could recover from the panic, the driver slammed on one of the men. Another one tried to fire at the sound, but his bullets bounced off from the bulletproof suit the driver was wearing. He knew this guy's location now. He grabbed the door and slammed at him. The masked man fell in deep slumber. The bald man was in panic with sudden bursts. The secretary was right behind him. With her swift knife movement, she slid open his neck. Suddenly, the driver was hearing loud noise of metal. A powerful punch landed on the door he was holding. The force was too large, which took him by surprise. The bulletproof glass on the door shattered into pieces. Just when another punch was going to fall on the door, the driver threw it away. He was now fighting with his own bare hands. Still, he knew he couldn't resist this hydraulic force. The armored man was increasing it by every passing second. The driver couldn't resist it anymore. It was too much. He got crushed by that force. His scream echoed in the parking lot. Hearing the loud scream, the secretary looked at her subordinate, but it was too late for him. Yet, the graceful blonde woman was already on her. She dodged her attack and attacked with her knife. But she was not a match for her. The blonde woman landed a powerful hit on her stomach. Inside the car, the minister was writing his last experience in the notebook. The blonde woman shouted for the minister to come out of the car and avoid the unnecessary bloodshed. She was holding his secretary as her hostage. The door opened and the minister came out. He was holding a katana and a book. Glowing violet sparks were covering his whole body. The woman was not surprised to see him. The minister asked to let his men go, since they were after his life and the book he had. The woman told him to throw the book at her. The minister throws the book. The secretary was released. She asked why would he do that. The minister told her to do as he has commanded. He sat on his one knee and said he has saved countless lives when he became a writer. If he is to die, he will die as a samurai. The minister thrusted his katana inside his chest. He died by his own hands. Kaede was telling this to Jong-suk. Jong-suk asked, was the book her father gave them was a fake one? Kaede said, yes. She added, she got this book from her father as a memento. She came to find him based on the contents of her book. It was the collector who killed her father. Kaede was furious as she added, she will not forgive them. Jong-suk knew her feelings. After a while, Jong-suk was looking at him in a mirror. He saw the scar on his forehead. At that time, when he was about to get shot. Just when the bullet was about to hit him, the power of his gong deflected it. He couldn't even believe it. He got a call. It was his father. His mother was also there. They were worried for him. Jong said he is fine and asked if they are okay. His mother said they are okay. They are provided to stay until their house is cleaned. Jong-suk told them to stay there until he picks them up. His mother asked they don't know why that had happened. Jong-suk said it's not a big deal. They don't have to worry much. Mother asked him to not get involved in anything dangerous. Jong-suk replied with affirmation. His mother said she loves him. Jong-suk replied with the same. Just at the moment, Kaede was watching the breaking news on TV. Jong-suk enters the room. She says he should look at it. The news said Jin Sumi has disappeared in US. Jong-suk didn't understand what has happened. What did they mean by disappeared? Kaede said it was probably the collector's doing. He was using her as a bait to lure him out. Jong-suk said firmly he has to go find her. The next day, they were at the airport with the private plane. Jong-suk was talking to his senior brother Jin Yong-woo. He was thanking him for listening to his unreasonable request. Mr. Jin replied he was lending his plane to him, as he had saved his life on the plane. Jong-suk thanked him once again and said he will contact him when he is in LA. Kaede was stunned to see the private plane. She said he must have great friends. Jong-suk replied it was all thanks to his experience book. Kaede frowned and said she doesn't have much experience yet. Even though she has an experience book, she doesn't have much abilities to use. After receiving the book from her father's secretary, she wrote all her memories she had while living with her father. All that experience points were used to find what has happened to her dad and see his final moments. From these past few months, all she could learn was kendo skills and Korean. Jong-suk smiled at her and said, it's just nice to be of help in any way possible. They get on the plane. Jong-suk was only thinking about Sumi. He was going to find her. In Jindae's private jet. Jong-suk was asleep and Kaede was bored. The female attendant came to greet them and asked Jong-suk if he would like to have his meal. Kaede told the attendant that he told her not to disturb him. The female attendant apologized, but Jong-suk had woken up. He said he was done resting. The scar on his forehead was already healed completely. Kaede was really amazed to see it. The female attendant goes to prepare their meal. They were served with steak. Kaede takes a bite. But it was tough for her. Jong-suk sees her. He said it is not just about cooking the steak, but also how you cut it. He takes her plate and cuts the steak for her. He says they can't use fire on plane, so they get already cooked steak on planes. He gives the cut steak back to her. She takes a bite again. This time it was delicious. Jong-suk was smiling as he saw her expression. He added, it's better to cut the meat at a right angle and separating its connecting muscle fibers and tissues. Kaede was just enjoying her meal. Jong-suk remained silent. They had reached in LA. They were inside a Rolls-Royce car. A person in a yellow suit welcomes them and asks if they had a safe flight. He said he was Jack Bauer and a private investigator commissioned by Jindae. He added further, according to the police investigation and the separate reports, it was certain that Jin Sumi has been kidnapped. He had organized all the information and reports in the iPads. He gives them the iPads and asks if they want to ask for anything else. He can tell them more information about the case after they get to their accommodation provided by Jindae. It was a grand villa. Kaede was astonished to see the interior of this villa. Jack Bauer said he is told that they can stay here as long as they want and use any rooms as they like. He added, tomorrow they have to meet with the Korean journalist who was covering the Jin Sumi's case. They also need to adjust to the time difference from their travel, so they need to take their much-needed rest. Jong-suk was thankful to him. Kaede was wandering in the beautiful villa. After a while, Kaede opened her experience book and started writing her experience. The book glowed continuously. Kaede was gaining a lot of experience. Jong-suk was watching her awkwardly. He felt weird watching someone write their experience in an experience book. Suddenly, his phone rang. It was an unknown number. He takes the call. He hears a familiar voice. It was Sohee Nuna. Jong-suk was surprised to hear it. Kaede asked if he is going out. Jong-suk replied he was going to meet someone. He will come back later. Kaede was alone. She was thinking about how to use her newly gained experience points. She thinks if Oda Nobunaga became the first writer of this book, then it must have some experience with ninjas. She wrote, if there is any experience with ninjas. The book replied back with confirmation. Kaede accepted it. Ultimately, the book glowed again. Jong-suk had reached near the Koreatown area. The driver told him that this place is dangerous at night. He told him to be careful. Jong-suk thanked him. As the driver leaves, Jong-suk recalled his conversation with Nuna. She said she was busy with managing the Los Angeles branch and suddenly heard the news about him on TV. After hearing about the news of Sumi, she was worried for him and called him directly. Jong-suk replied he was in LA. Jong-suk asked if they could meet. Nuna agreed and told him the address. Sohee Nuna was waiting for him. Jong-suk had came to meet her. She said Jong-suk had grown so much. It's been a long time. Jong-suk smiled and said she is beautiful as ever. She hasn't changed one bit. Nuna was happy to hear it. Jong-suk asked if she has eaten. Nuna replied she knew he is picky, so she already prepared a meal for him. They can eat together. Jong-suk said he can eat anything she made. It will be delicious. At the same time, the blonde woman was watching them. She had a camera on her helmet. They were being tracked and monitored by their enemies and Bottengout's assistant. The assistant warned her not to make any mistakes this time. In the hotel, Sohee Nuna had prepared an exquisite meal for Jong-suk. Jong-suk was enjoying the meal. He said it was delicious. Nuna was happy. Jong-suk looked at Nuna and said it'd been a long time. Nuna agreed. She nervously said her grandfather, Master Kim, is so mean. She wanted to return after she established their branch in France. But again, she had to remain in Los Angeles. She couldn't find a place to go around. She couldn't even date anyone, even though she is old enough. She was embarrassed. Jong-suk said Nuna must be popular wherever she goes. Nuna smiled and replied her grandpa is getting older but also more strict at the same time. Jong-suk saw a fish dish on the table. Nuna said it was soy sauce steamed with boss fish. She made it but she is not sure if it will suit his taste. Looking at the boss fish, Jong-suk suddenly remembered Sumi. He falls silent. Nuna asked if he was thinking about his girlfriend. Jong-suk suddenly said he will definitely save her. Nuna was surprised to hear it. She asked nervously, was she kidnapped somewhere? Jong-suk said yes. Nuna didn't know why would someone do that. But at the moment, the gorgeous blonde woman had a sniper gun and taking her aim on Jong-suk. Suddenly, Jong-suk realized his hairs rising. Everything went calm. The glass shattered by a single bullet. Nuna shouted by the sudden sound. The bullet had bounced back from Jong-suk's face. Suddenly, rounds of gunfires were shot in their direction. Jong-suk commanded Nuna to bow down and reach beside her. The glass windows were breaking all over the restaurant. The bullets were showering with an unstoppable barrage from every direction. Nuna had successfully came beside Jong-suk. They were safe behind a cover for a moment. The blonde woman knew she had missed her target. She tells her team to inject the nerve gas. One masked man takes the order. He was on top of the restaurant. He released the nerve gas through the air filtration system. Nuna didn't know what was happening. Jong-suk told her that they were the ones who kidnapped Sumi. Nuna was shocked to hear that. Jong-suk was smelling something. He didn't know what was it. Nuna didn't know what he was saying. Jong-suk told her to hold her breath. He picked up the lighter and lightened it near the anti-fire system. At the same time, the fire alarm resounded in the area. The blonde woman could hear it. Her team member told her that the fire alarm was ringing and the anti-fire system was activated. She replied, he has noticed the nerve gas. The team member was surprised. He asked, the nerve gas was colorless and odorless. So how? She instantly said, don't think of Jong-suk as ordinary human. She ordered them to turn off the lights. The anti-fire and water system had activated. It was now raining inside the restaurant. Sohee Nuna was getting wet from the rain. She was shivering and afraid. Jong-suk told her to be patient. The water will wash away the gases from the air. Nuna agreed. Suddenly the water stopped and the lights went off. A group of masked men entered in the restaurant. They were wearing night vision goggles. They were looking in the kitchen. Suddenly a flash of light came flying towards them. It was a knife. It pierced through one of the members' neck. The other guy was shocked. Jong-suk had gained knife's mastery ability a long time ago. He was throwing knives at the enemy with an incredible speed and precision. They didn't even know how he was able to see them in this darkness. One of the member couldn't think of any other way. He took out a grenade and threw it towards Jong-suk. Jong-suk could see the falling grenade. He immediately poured his power in his legs. He gave a flying reverse kick to the grenade. Just when he landed, a grenade exploded where it had came from. All the enemies were dead, except for the gorgeous blonde woman. She was holding a gun and moving forward towards Jong-suk. But Jong-suk had already disappeared. She had lost him again. Jong-suk and Nuna had escaped from the restaurant. The next day, Jack Bauer was talking to Jong-suk. He said what happened last night was really bad. Their enemies could do whatever they can to kill him. He should not move alone. Jong-suk agreed and said he will be careful. They had reached at the Hollywood Film City. Jack said he considered this location to meet the Korean journalist. He will meet him and bring him to their car. He told Jong-suk not to get out of the car and wait inside. Kaede was looking outside. Jong-suk asked if this is her first time being on a movie set. Kaede said yes. She asked how much experience will she get if she wrote down what she saw here in the experience book. Jong-suk wondered. He said he has wrote his same experience in the book, but he didn't really remember how much points it had gave him. Kaede knew Jong-suk had gained a lot of experience. Jong-suk said he has gained a good experience. It was all thanks to his notebook. He was able to help a lot of people. Kaede didn't know how should she respond. She said she didn't have any good experience since she became a writer. She seemed sad. Jong-suk knew her feelings. Suddenly, the door opened. Jack Bauer came back with the journalist. She was a woman, but she was also familiar. Jong-suk recognized her. She was Yoon-ji, his high school best friend. Jong-suk was surprised to see her. However, Yoon-ji was not fazed one bit. Jong-suk asked. She told him she was going abroad to study in Canada. He asked, did she become a journalist? Yoon-ji smiled and replied she always wanted to be a journalist. Jong-suk was happy for her. He praised her and said, you are cool. For you to be a journalist. Yoon-ji said, you are the coolest one. She teased, how many jobs do you have? Jack Bauer asked if they both know each other. Jong-suk said yes and added, they both went to the same high school. Kaede was bored. She said, let's end the chatter and get back to the business. Jong-suk apologized awkwardly. Yoon-ji said, they must have read many articles which are already made public. Jong-suk agreed. She added, the police has been investigating the scenario about the writer, although they haven't announced any details to the media. Jong-suk asked, what writer is she talking about? Yoon-ji said it was because of the note which was left behind by the kidnappers. She showed him the picture on her phone. Jong-suk takes the phone. The picture was taken from afar. As he zoomed in, the contents of the letter were visible. It said, to writer. Now I have the book and the woman. If you want them back. N40 W74. As Jong-suk read it, Yoon-ji continued. She said, the criminal who identifies himself as the collector sent the message to the writer. Suddenly, Jack Bauer said, N40 W74 seems to mean 40 degrees north latitude and 74 degrees west longitude. That's New York. Yoon-ji said, that's the reason the police are currently investigating the point of contact between the screenwriter of Sumi's film and the collectors in New York as a prime suspect. Jong-suk immediately said the message was not for the writer. Yoon-ji didn't understand. Jong-suk pointed at the picture and said, the writer they are looking for is me. After a while, they were all at the airport. Yoon-ji asked Jong-suk if he is going to New York. Jong-suk said yes. He added, now that he knows Sumi is in New York, he didn't have any reason to stay here. Yoon-ji asked nervously, next time, can they meet again? There was a sudden silence between them. Jack Bauer was talking to Jin Dae-in. He said he will follow his orders. The plane took off. Yoon-ji was watching it fly away. She just whispered her words, be careful, Jong-suk. After a while, Jong-suk was sitting silently on his seat. Kaede was curious of something and asked Jong-suk, they are not just friends, are they? Jong smiled and said she was his first love. Kaede grew silent. She thought, how many women does he have? They had few hours to rest, so they were sleeping. At the same time, some silent steps were leading to Jong-suk. The person was holding a gun on Jong-suk. Jong-suk asked calmly, Jack, may I know why you are trying to kill me? Jack was the person holding the gun. Kaede had woken up. She was trying to make a move, but Jack shouted at her not to make any move. Suddenly, Jong-suk used that as a distraction and jumped on Jack. Jack panicked and fired his gun. The bullet missed Jong-suk. Jong-suk had dodged it. They were in a fierce brawl. Listening to the loud noise, the pilot came to inquire. Kaede was holding her katana. She ordered the pilot to just drive the plane. Jong-suk was grabbing onto Jack with his hands. He unloaded the gun and kicked the falling magazine. He asked Jack why was he trying to kill him. Jack said Mr. Jin Yong-woo has declared to kill him. Jong-suk was shocked and in disarray. He couldn't understand why his senior brother would do this. Jack added, Mr. Jin Daein has also ordered the same, so it can't be helped. He was pulling heavily on Jong-suk. He said it's heartbreaking, but he has to kill him. Suddenly, the shot gets fired. It missed Jong-suk again. But the bullet had reached a human. It was the pilot. Kaede shouted that the pilot got shot. Jong-suk mustered all his strength into his fist. He gave a powerful punch to Jack in his solar pelvis. Jack was sent flying in the plane. He was knocked out. Kaede shouted for Jong-suk to save the pilot. The pilot was shot in the shoulder and unconscious. Kaede asked if he can save him. Jong-suk said he is going to try. Kaede looked at the empty cabin. The plane was in autopilot. She asked if the plane can land safely in New York. Jong-suk didn't know about that either. Jong-suk had poked the needles near the wound. The bleeding has already stopped. Kaede was amazed. She asked if he going to be okay. Jong-suk knew it was not the case. He said no. The pilot had lost so much of blood. He will not be able to come to his senses unless they give him blood transfusion. Jong-suk asked the female attendant if they had an ambulance on board. The female attendant replied, there is, but it's not enough to perform blood transfusion. Jong-suk had no other choice but to use his internal energy to increase the pilot's strength. Kaede didn't know if it was even possible. Jong-suk said he has to give it a try. He took off his jacket and sat down. He told them not to touch him. He was going to gather as much energy as possible. The female attendant said they have about 4 hours before they could land in New York. Kaede was thinking what she can do. She got up and took out her book. She took at the pen and asked the book, do you have any experience of flying a plane? The book replied, there is. Kaede was relieved. She immediately asked the book to teach her how to fly the airplane. The book replied, it is impossible to learn with the current amount of points. Kaede was disheartened. She had to think of something else. She wrote desperately, can you at least tell me how to land? Jack Bauer was tied up. He had woken up. Jong-suk was trying to save the pilot, while Kaede was sleeping and gaining her experience. Jack shouted again and again. He didn't know what was going on. The pilot had survived. He didn't know what had happened. He tried to get up. Jong-suk told him that he was shot. They have to take him to the hospital. He asked if he can land the plane. The pilot was not sure. Suddenly, Kaede walked past them. She said, tell the pilot to rest. She will drive this plane by herself. Jong-suk asked if she can do it. Kaede said, in the book of experience, she saw her dad's experience. Tears were rolling down her eyes. Jong-suk couldn't say anything. Kaede wiped her tears and grabbed onto the steering wheel. She thanked her dad. Jong-suk went to Jack Bauer. He asked if their men will be waiting for him at the airport. There was no answer from Jack, so it was the truth. Jong-suk told Kaede that they can't land at the airport. They have to find different place to land. Kaede said she will give it a try. She turned the plane in a different direction. She was going to land the plane on the highway. Jong-suk fastened his seatbelt and asked if she can do it. Kaede was relaxed. She said she can make it work somehow, but they will not be able to take off again. The plane was preparing to land. They were getting closer to the road. Kaede told him to hold on tightly. The plane landed on highway at a tremendous speed. It was sliding off on the road. The wings of the plane were crashing into the nearby trees. Inside, they were experiencing unbearable force. After a moment, the plane came to a stop. They had landed safely on the highway. Kaede gave a long relief. Jong-suk said she was a good pilot for a first try. Jong-suk came to the pilot and said, the ambulance will be here soon. You just need to hang on for a little bit more. The pilot agreed. Jong-suk came to Jack. He said, tell Jin Yong-woo that he will never forgive him for his payback gift for saving his life. The highway was blocked by the airplane. All the cars were stuck. The old man, Gout, was watching the footage of Jong-suk and Kaede running away. He said, Jin Yong-woo's dog has failed. The assistant asked, should they send a new dog unit in that area? Gout said, there is no need for it. He simply said, give him a call. Jong-suk's phone was ringing. He took the call. He could see the old man. The old man said, it is nice to see you, Jong-suk. He introduced himself as Gout. Hearing the name, Kaede was shocked. She immediately started cursing at him. Botan said, I guess Kaede is with you. He added, her father lost his life because of the book of experience, and now he is even more foolish to hand over the book to his own daughter. Not only his life came to end, but also his daughter's life. He chuckled and said, don't you think that he is such a cruel father? Kaede was furious at Botan. She cursed again and said, she will kill him. Jong-suk told Kaede to calm down, but clearly it had no effect. Botan suddenly said, "Don't make any foolish judgments, like sacrificing the lives of precious people because of the book." Jong-suk could see Sumi inside a cylindrical cage. Botan added, "You must have experienced lives of a lot of people once you become the writer of the Book of Experience. Ordinary people spend their entire lifetimes to gain the achievements and fame which you have gained in just a couple of years. All those fame and glory are thanks to the Book of Experience." He asked, "Wouldn't it be nice to think that you have spent your entire life on good luck and end it with no regrets?" Kaede was in no mood for trash talk. She shouted at him and said, "It's his life that is going to end." She was going to take out her sword. But, suddenly, Jong-suk gave her a slight knock on her neck. Kaede didn't even notice what had happened. She was knocked out instantly. Botan knew what had happened. Jong-suk simply said, "Tell me the location." He will bring Kaede and her Book of Experience. Jong-suk is finally going to meet Botan Gout. Will he save Sumi, or will he sacrifice Kaede? What are these books of experience? Let's find out in the next part of the series. The link will be updated soon in the description. Join the fun. If you are someone who loves reading manhwa and animes, subscribe now and join us in our journey. Also, get notified for new manhwa updates and hidden gems. Thank you for watching this video and see you again.